The smell of oil and concrete is still in my lungs. Every time I close my eyes, I'm back there, crouched behind a black sedan in a parking garage that felt more like a tomb than shelter. My knees pressed into the cold floor, my breath trapped in my chest, waiting to hear Marcus's voice echo through the levels, calling my name the way he did when he was about to hurt me. I didn't plan to hide in that garage. I didn't plan to crawl into the shadow of a stranger's car and pray he wouldn't notice me shaking beneath it. But he did notice. He looked at me once, just once, and instead of asking questions, instead of calling the police, he opened the door and said, "Get in." I don't remember the drive. I don't remember the streets. I only remember thinking that if this man turned out to be worse than Marcus, at least the decision would finally be over. Now I'm here. The apartment doesn't creak. That's the first thing I notice. No footsteps overhead. No slamming cupboards. No sudden silences that mean he's listening, calculating, waiting to pounce. Just quiet. The kind of quiet that should feel like mercy, but instead wraps around my throat like a noose I can't see. I'm sitting on someone else's couch, in someone else's home, wearing someone else's oversized hoodie because mine still has his fingerprints. Bruised into the fabric. My hands won't stop shaking. Not from cold, from the absence of fear, from the terrifying realization that I don't know how to exist without bracing for impact. He, the man who brought me here, is in the kitchen. I can hear water running, the clink of a mug against granite. He moves like someone who's never had to tiptoe through his own life. Confident, steady, the kind of man who opens doors without checking what's on the other side first. I don't even know his name. 3 hours ago, I was pressed against a bathroom stall in a gas station on the edge of town, texting my sister the address in case I disappeared. 3 hours ago, I made a choice that every survival instinct I'd sharpened over 4 years screamed against. I accepted help from a stranger, from him. A man who saw the split lip I tried to hide, the way I flinched when the door chimed, the tremor in my voice when I asked if the restroom was safe. He didn't ask questions. He just said, "You need somewhere to go. I can help." And God help me, I followed him. Now I'm here, cocooned in this unnatural silence, and my mind won't stop spinning. What kind of man just offers sanctuary to a bleeding woman at 2 a.m.? What kind of man doesn't ask for explanations, doesn't demand gratitude, doesn't even ask my name? The good kind, or the kind who's just better at hiding what he wants? I've spent 4 years learning to read danger in a glance, a tone, a pause. I became fluent in the language of violence. But this gentleness? I don't have a translation for it. It feels like a trap I can't identify. And that might be more dangerous than anything I left behind. Because Marcus, my ex, my tormentor, my nightmare inhuman, skin, he didn't start with fists. He started with kindness, too. Flowers. Compliments. A hand that felt protective until it tightened into a cage. He made me believe I was being saved, right up until I realized I was being owned. The man returns with tea I didn't ask for, sets it down with a carefulness that makes my chest ache. Our eyes meet for half a second before I look away, and in that fragment of time, I see something I can't name. Not pity, not hunger, something else, something that feels like recognition. "You're safe here," he says quietly. But am I? Or did I just trade one kind of danger for another, the kind that doesn't announce itself with rage, but with rescue? The kind that waits until you're grateful, dependent, attached, before it shows you who it really is? I lift the tea with trembling hands and realize the most terrifying truth of all. I have no idea what kind of man I just trusted with my life. The tea grows cold between my palms while he sits across from me, separated by a glass coffee table that feels like an ocean. He doesn't fidget, doesn't fill the silence with empty reassurances or nervous chatter. just watches me with eyes that seem to calculate every breath I take, every micro-expression that crosses my face. There are rules, he finally says. My spine stiffens. Rules. The word tastes like copper on my tongue, like blood from a split lip, like every time Marcus told me what I could and couldn't do, who I could and couldn't see, how I should and shouldn't breathe. But this man's voice doesn't carry that edge of barely contained rage. It's steady, clinical, almost like he's outlining terms of a business contract, not dictating the conditions of my existence. No phone, he continues, and my hand instinctively moves to my pocket before remembering it's empty. I left it in the gas station trash can. Battery removed. SIM card snapped. He notices the gesture. Good. You already understand why. I do. Marcus tracked everything. My location, my messages, even my search history. The phone was his leash, his window into every corner of my life. But hearing this stranger, this man whose name I still don't know, confirm that I can't have one feels different. Safer, maybe, or more. Trapped. I can't tell anymore. No contact with anyone from your past. Not friends, not family, not coworkers. No social media, no emails. Nothing that creates a digital footprint he can follow. He leans forward slightly, elbows on his bounds, knees, hands clasped. And you don't leave this apartment alone, not until I'm certain you won't be found. So I'm a prisoner, I whisper. You're protected. His correction is swift, almost gentle. There's a difference. Is there? My mind scrambles for the distinction, but every rule he's listed sounds like the ones Marcus used to enforce. Different. Delivery. Same chains. This man just wears his control like expensive. Cologne, subtle, sophisticated, suffocating. How long? My voice cracks. As long as it takes. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. Something flickers across his face then, so brief I almost miss it. Not impatience, not irritation. Something raw, like he's tasted this. Powerlessness before, knows its bitter flavor intimately. Like maybe, once upon a time, someone held his freedom hostage too. He stands, and I flinch before I can stop myself. Old instincts, survival reflexes, carved into muscle memory. But he doesn't move toward me. Just walks to the window, parts the curtain an inch, scans the street below with practiced precision. I know what you're thinking, he says without turning around. That I'm just another version of what you ran from. That protection and ownership are just different words for the same cage. My throat tightens. He's not wrong. But here's what you need to understand. He faces me now, and there's something in his expression that makes my pulse stutter. Not threat, not desire. Something more complicated. Your ex believed he owned you because he could. I'm keeping you here because someone has to stand between you and the man who will kill you if he finds you. And make no mistake, he's looking. The certainty in his voice sends ice through my veins. How do you know? Because men like him don't let go. They don't move on. They don't accept loss. His jaw tightens. They burn the world down before admitting something slipped through their fingers. He speaks like someone who's lived this, not just observed it, like he stood on both sides of that burning world and walked away with scars. What's your name? I ask suddenly, desperately, needing something solid to hold on to in this quicksand of uncertainty. He hesitates. For the first time since I met him, he looks almost reluctant. Jiho, he finally says. Kang Jiho. The name settles between us like a secret, like a contract, signed in invisible ink. I don't know why, but hearing it feels significant, dangerous. Like knowing someone's name gives them power over you, or you over them. and neither of us is sure which direction that power flows. I'll follow your rules, I hear myself say. And I hate how small my voice sounds. How defeated. How much it sounds like every time I surrendered to Marcus just to survive another day. But Jiho's expression doesn't shift into satisfaction or triumph. If anything, he looks sad. I'm not asking you to obey, he says quietly. I'm asking you to trust that I know how to keep you alive. And that's when I realize the most terrifying thing. Protection and ownership might feel dangerously close, but so do safety and suffocation. And I have no idea which one I just chose. 3 days pass in this strange limbo where time moves differently. No clock ticking toward Marcus's next explosion, no calculating which version of him will walk through the door. Just this eerie calm that my nervous system doesn't know how to process. I watch Jiho when he thinks I'm not looking. He moves through the apartment like water fluid, deliberate, contained. Early mornings, he disappears into a room at the end of the hall, and I hear sounds I can't quite identify. Not exercise, something more disciplined. Later, I catch a glimpse through the cracked door. Him on his knees, perfectly still, hands resting on his thighs, breathing so controlled it looks like meditation or preparation for violence. Maybe both. He takes calls in Korean, his voice dropping into registers. I don't hear when he speaks to me. Cold, clipped, authoritative. Once I catch a word that sounds like a command, followed by silence so complete I know. Whoever's on the other end is terrified. When he hangs up, his jaw works like he's swallowing back something dark. Then he sees me watching. Hungry? He asks, like he wasn't just orchestrating something I probably don't want to understand. I nod because I am, but also because I'm curious. Who is this man who offers refuge with one hand while wielding power with the other? He cooks, not reheating takeout, actually cooks, moves through the kitchen with the same precision he applies to everything else. Knife skills that seem too practiced, too efficient, the kind you learned from necessity, not culinary school. Where did you learn that? I venture. My grandmother. He doesn't look up from the mound. Vegetables he's dicing into perfect cubes. She said a man who can't feed himself is already dead. Just hasn't figured it out yet. There's weight in those words. History. Loss. Is she? Gone. Long time ago. His knife pauses mid-cut, just for a heartbeat. She raised me after my parents. He stops. Recalibrates. She raised me after his parents what? Died? Left? Were killed? The unfinished sentence hangs between us like smoke, and I know better than to ask. I've become an expert at reading what shouldn't be pushed, but fragments start accumulating over the following days. A scar on his forearm that looks like a burn, deliberate and cruel, the way he checks every lock twice before sleeping, like expecting invasion, how he never sits with his back to a door. The nightmares I hear through the walls, not screaming, but that worst sound, whimpering. The kind that comes from someone who learned early that screaming brings more pain. He survived something, multiple somethings, and whatever made him this particular combination of controlled and lethal didn't just shape him, it carved him out and rebuilt him from the inside. One evening, I find him on the balcony, smoking. I didn't know he smoked. He holds the cigarette like he's angry at it, like it's a weakness. He permits himself grudgingly. You don't have to hide from me, I say. He exhales slowly, smoke curling into the night. I'm not hiding. Then what do you call this? Discipline. He stubs out the cigarette, half finished, knowing which parts of yourself to show and which to bury, so deep no one gets hurt. Hurt by what? He finally looks at me, and there's something in his eyes that makes my breath catch. Not danger, recognition, like he sees the same. Question I've been asking myself since I got here. How much of who you were survives what you had to become? I'm not a good man, he says quietly. I do things that would make you run faster than anything your ex ever did. But I'm good at keeping people alive when someone wants them dead. That's all you need to know. Is it? I challenge. Because every day I'm here, I learn a little more, see a little more. You meditate like you're preparing for war, cook like your grandmother's watching, check locks. You've been hunted. And you look at me sometimes like what? Like you're trying to save something in yourself. Not just, like my survival matters because it proves you're not completely lost. Like, maybe if you can protect someone, you're not just the weapon you've been turned into. But I don't say any of that. Instead, like you, understand what it's like to have someone rewrite who you are until you can't. Remember the original version. His jaw tightens. For a moment, I think he'll deflect, change the subject, retreat behind that wall of controlled civility. Then, I was 16 when they found me. Homeless, angry, useful. They didn't ask if I wanted this life. They just showed me what I was good at and told me that's what I'd become. By the time I realized I had a choice, I'd already made too many decisions that couldn't be undone. Who's they? People who turn boys into weapons and call it opportunity. The confession sits heavy between us. I should be terrified. Should be planning my escape from this man who just admitted he's been shaped into something dangerous by forces he won't name. Instead, I'm asking myself the question that will haunt me for days. Is he saving me? Or is he saving something in himself that my survival keeps alive? Marcus discovers the empty apartment on day 4. I don't know this yet, but I will. I'll learn every detail of his unraveling later, when Jiho shows me the reports, the recordings, the digital footprints of a man who refuses to accept loss. He doesn't panic when he finds my things gone, doesn't spiral into the rage I spent years anticipating. Instead, he sits on the edge of our bed, his bed now, and makes a list. Methodical, calculated. The same way he used to plan my punishments when I disappointed him. First, her phone. He checks the location history, finds the gas station where the signal died, drives there himself, questions the attendant with that charming smile that fooled me once too, checks traffic. Cameras. Finds footage of me getting into a car with a man whose face is partially obscured. A man. Not a woman, not a shelter. A man. This information rearranges something in Marcus's brain. Suddenly, I'm not fleeing abuse, I'm cheating, running to another man's arms, betraying him after everything he did for me, all the patience he showed, all the times he forgave my failures. The narrative rewrites itself in real time. Second, he calls my sister, cries on the phone, actual tears, voice breaking in all the right places. I'm worried about her. She seemed so distant lately, depressed. I found some concerning search history on her laptop, suicide prevention websites. I'm scared she might hurt herself. My sister, who never liked Marcus but tolerated him for my sake, is now torn between her instincts and his performance. He's that good. Always has been. Third, social media. He crafts the perfect post. A photo of us from better days. My smile genuine because I didn't know yet what he'd become. Caption. If anyone has seen or heard from my girlfriend, please contact me. I'm extremely worried. She left without explanation and isn't responding to anyone. If you're reading this, baby, please just let me know you're safe. I love you. The comments pour in. Concern, offers to help, shared posts, spreading across networks like wildfire. Suddenly, hundreds of people are looking for me, thinking they're helping a worried boyfriend find his missing girlfriend. Nobody knows he's the reason I disappeared. Fourth, police report. He walks into the station with red-rimmed eyes, that slight tremor in his hands that makes him look vulnerable instead of violent. Files a missing person report, shows them texts I sent weeks ago when I was still trying to leave quietly messages that, out of context, sound like depression, desperation, mental instability. The detective handling the case is sympathetic, sees a concerned boyfriend, not a predator hunting his escaped prey. We'll do everything we can, they assure him. Marcus thanks them, shakes hands, walks out with his mask perfectly in place. Then he gets in his car, drives to the empty parking lot behind the apartment complex, and punches the dashboard until his knuckles split. Not from grief, from entitlement, from the audacity of me thinking I had the right to leave, from the humiliation of something belonging to him slipping through his fingers. He pulls out his phone and starts making calls to friends who owe him favors, to that guy from his gym who knows people, to an old college buddy who works in private investigation. I need to find someone, he says, someone who doesn't want to be found. Because men like Marcus don't let go. They don't move on. They don't accept that maybe they destroyed something so thoroughly it could never be recovered. They burn the world down first. And I'm sitting in Jiho's apartment, drinking tea, thinking, I'm safe, while the man I ran from is transforming my escape into a manhunt, my freedom into a crime, my survival into his next victory. The past isn't just a memory I'm running from. It's a hunter, and it's getting closer. On day 5, the silence changes. It's still quiet, still too clean, too controlled, but now it feels like the pause before something breaks. Like the city itself is holding its breath, and I'm the reason why. Jiho doesn't say Marcus's name again. He doesn't need to. The way he moves tells me everything. A fraction faster, a fraction sharper, like he's shifted into a gear he keeps hidden until the world forces his hand. In the morning, he opens the laptop on the kitchen island and types without looking at the keys. Korean characters I can't read. Maps that blink into view. Security feeds. A list of names I don't recognize. What are you doing? I ask, keeping my voice neutral, the way I learned to do with Marcus. Soft enough not to provoke. Steady enough not to sound weak. Closing doors, Jiho says. The ones he'll try to walk through. I tell myself I don't want the details. I tell myself don't need them. But survival has rewired me. I don't relax when I don't know what's coming. I panic. He filed a missing person report, I say, tasting the words like poison. So he has the police looking. Correct. Then he's not just searching. He's building a side story. Jiho's eyes lift to mine. Good. You understand the real threat. A phone rings. Not his phone, one of the small devices he keeps in a drawer like spare identities. He answers in Korean. His voice becomes colder, flatter, like emotion is a weakness he's turned off. When he hangs up, he doesn't sit back down. He stands there for a moment, staring at nothing, then says, he hired someone. My throat tightens. A private investigator? Worse, someone who doesn't care what the law says. Someone who cares what money says. The room tilts slightly. My mind flashes forward to headlights outside the building, strangers in the hallway, a hand on my doorknob. Will they find me? I ask. Jiho's answer comes too quickly. Not if I'm awake. That should comfort me. It doesn't, because I know what he means by awake. I know the kind of vigilance he's capable of. I know this isn't a man who calls for help when he's threatened. This is a man who becomes the threat. That night, he changes the apartment without making it obvious. Curtains stay drawn. The balcony door stays locked. A second set of locks appears on the main door, installed so cleanly it looks like it always belonged there. And the next morning, when I wake up, there's a small paper bag on the counter. Inside it, a new hoodie. a pair of shoes that fit, and a note in neat handwriting. Move like you matter. Breathe like you belong. I read it twice, 3 times. Something in my chest aches. Marcus used to write notes too, but his were traps. Love disguised as ownership. Affection used as leverage. This feels different. Still dangerous. Still loaded. But different. Later, Jiho stands beside me at the window without opening the curtain. He doesn't touch me. He doesn't need to. Marcus thinks you're hiding, he says. So he'll search like you're weak. That's your advantage. And when he realizes I'm not, Jiho's mouth tightens. Then he'll escalate. The word lands heavy. Escalate. Like there's a ladder of violence I haven't even climbed yet. And you? I don't escalate, Jiho says quietly. I end. For a second, the air feels too thin. My skin goes cold. This is the truth I've been orbiting since the gas station. The truth I didn't want to name. I should run. I should be terrified. Instead, I hear myself whisper, how close is he? Jiho looks at me, really looks at me like he's measuring whether I'm about to break or become something harder. Close enough, he says. That you need to. Stop thinking safety is something you feel. It's something I build. And I realize the calm I've been living in isn't peace. It's a shield. And somewhere out there, Marcus is slamming himself against it, trying to find the crack. Stay behind me, Jiho says. The words should feel like a cage. They feel like a warning. I learn what Jiho really is on day 7. Not from anything he tells me, from what I see when the veneer of civilization cracks just enough to reveal what's underneath. It starts with a phone call. His expression doesn't change as he listens, but something shifts in his posture. The controlled calm hardens into something colder, sharper. He speaks 3 sentences in Korean, each one clipped like a blade, then hangs up. Stay here, he says. Not a request. What's wrong? Someone made a mistake. He's already moving toward the door, pulling on a jacket that conceals more than it reveals. I'll be back in 2 hours. Jiho, he pauses, hand on the doorknob, and looks at me with an ippo, the expression I can't read. Lock the door behind me. Don't open it for anyone except me. Understand? I nod, because the alternative is arguing with someone who's already half gone, mind shifted into whatever mode he needs to handle. Mistakes. He leaves. I lock the door, and then I do what I shouldn't. I wait by the window, watching the street until I see him emerge with 2 other men. They move with identical efficiency, predators in human clothing, and disappear into a black car with tinted windows. 2 hours becomes 3. Then 4. When he finally returns, it's after midnight. I hear the key in the lock, the soft footfall in the entrance, the pause. He knows I'm awake, knows I'm watching from the shadows of the living room. You should be sleeping, he says. You should have been back 2 hours ago. He moves into the light, and that's when I see it. Blood on. His collar, not his, the shirt is too pristine, too carefully worn. Someone else's. A spray pattern that suggests proximity to violence, not participation in it. But that distinction feels meaningless when the evidence is staining. White cotton in the harsh lamplight. My stomach turns. It's handled, he says, already moving toward the ray. Bathroom? What's handled? Something that needed to be. That's not an answer. He stops, turns, and for the first time since I've known him, his control slips enough for me to glimpse what lives beneath. Not rage, like Marcus, something colder, more absolute. A man who works for me thought he could negotiate with, quote, people I told him to eliminate. He thought mercy was currency he could spend for leverage. He was wrong. Jiho's voice carries no emotion. I reminded him what happens when you confuse my restraint for weakness. You killed him. No. He meets my eyes, but he'll wish I had. That's the point. My breath catches. There it is, the truth I've been dancing around since I accepted his help. This man isn't pretending to be dangerous. He isn't reformed or rehabilitating or struggling against his nature. He is. Violence, controlled and aimed and efficient. He just pointed it away from me. So far, does that change anything, he asks? Not. Defensive. Genuinely curious. Does it? I ran from a man who hurt me because he wanted control. Now I'm hiding behind a man who hurts people because it's what he does. Different motivation. Same capacity for destruction. I don't know, I whisper. Fair enough. He unbuttons the soiled shirt, revealing a canvas of scars, some old and faded, others newer, shinier. A body that's been both weapon and target. But you should know, the world isn't divided into good people and bad people. It's divided into people who survive and people who don't. I learned that lesson young. Your ex is learning it now. Marcus? What does he have to do with everything? Jiho's jaw tightens. He filed a missing person report, posted your face across social media, convinced half your city you're in danger, and he's the worried boyfriend trying to save you. He's not looking for you because he loves you. He's hunting you because he thinks you're his property. The room tilts. I knew Marcus wouldn't just let me go, but hearing the scope of his manipulation laid out so clinically makes it real in a way denial couldn't protect me from. So what now? Now you make a choice. Jiho tosses the bloodied shirt toward the laundry. I can make him disappear. Completely. No body, no evidence, just gone. But if I do it, you need to understand how I'll do it. And you need to decide if you can live with that knowledge. My throat closes. This is the moment. The fork in the road, where I either stay the person I was, moral, horrified, clinging to laws and ethics, or become something else, something that chooses survival over innocence. If I say yes, I manage. What does that make me? Alive, he says simply. It makes you alive. We stand in this terrible silence, his question hanging between us like a noose I'm being asked to tie myself, and I realize with sick certainty I escaped one monster by hiding inside another. But this monster is asking permission. This monster is giving me agency, even as he describes atrocity, which is somehow more terrifying than Marcus ever was. Because Marcus took choice away. Jiho is forcing me to make one. I need time, I whisper. You have until he finds you, Jiho says. After that, the decision makes itself. The message arrives on day 10. I don't have a phone, don't have email, don't have any digital connection to the world I left behind. But Marcus is nothing if not resourceful. The envelope appears under the door while Jiho is out. Meeting with people I don't ask about. Plain white. My name written in Marcus's familiar handwriting. The same hand that wrote love notes once. Apology letters. Later. Threats toward the end. I stare at it for 5 full minutes before I can force myself to pick it up. Inside, a single photograph. Me, walking into this building 4 days ago. The angle suggests it was taken from across the street. Zoom. Lens capturing my face with clarity that makes my blood ice over. And written on the back in his neat print. Found you. Coming soon. Love always. M. The paper slips from my trembling fingers. He knows. He knows where I am. Has probably been watching, cataloging, planning. How long? How much has he seen? Does he know about Jiho? The door opens. Jiho takes one look at my face, then the envelope on the floor, and his expression shudders into something clinical, dangerous. He picks up the photo, studies it, flips it to read the message. When did this arrive? Just now. Slid under the door while you were on hand. Gone. He was here. Not a question. A statement edged with something lethal. Recently enough to know I wasn't home. What does that mean? It means he's been surveilling, watching patterns, learning schedules. Jiho's jaw works. It means he's not some jealous ex throwing a tantrum. He's hunting you methodically. My legs won't hold me. I sink onto the couch, and suddenly, I'm back in our old apartment, hiding in the bathroom while Marcus tears through rooms looking for evidence of my disloyalty. The same suffocating terror, the same helplessness, the same certainty that there's no escape, no safe place, no end, except the one he decides. Hey, Jiho's voice cuts through the spiral. He's crouched in front of me, close enough to ground me, but not touching. Look at me. I do. His eyes are steady, certain. He made a mistake showing his hand this early. Confident men make sloppy moves, and sloppy moves create opportunities. He sets the photo on the table between us. This changes things. Changes them how? You said you needed time to make a decision. His expression shifts into something colder, sharper. That time just ran out. The words land like stones in my stomach. I know what he's asking, what he's offering. The same choice he presented 3 days ago. Now, reframed as necessity instead of option. If I end him, Jiho says quietly, can you live with how I'll do it? My mind conjures images I don't want, violence I've never witnessed, but can suddenly imagine with horrifying clarity. Marcus pleading, broken, erased, and me, sitting in this apartment, safe because someone died on my behalf, protected by a man who kills as casually as others change careers. But then I remember Marcus's hands around my throat, the panic of not being able to breathe, how he looked me in the eyes while I clawed at his fingers and said, you brought this on yourself. The bruises that bloomed like grotesque flowers, the lies I told everyone, the slow death of becoming a ghost in my own life. What would you do? I ask. Specifically, you don't want those details. Yes, I do. If I'm complicit, I should know what I'm agreeing to. Jiho studies me for a long moment, maybe assessing whether I mean it or if I'm testing my own limits. Then I'd find him, alone, away from cameras and witnesses. I'd make sure he understands exactly why he's dying, that his refusal to let you go is what ended him. And then I'd make sure no one ever finds what's left. Would he suffer? Would you want him to? The question pierces something in me. Do I? Is there some dark, ugly part of me that wants Marcus to feel a fraction of what he put me through? That wants cosmic justice delivered in pain and terror? I don't know, I whisper. Does that make me a monster? It makes you human. Jiho's voice softens. The people who survive trauma aren't the ones who forgive perfectly. They're the ones who admit they're carrying rage and find a way to live with it. You get to be angry. You get to want him gone. That doesn't make you anything like him. Tears burn behind my eyes because Marcus spent 4 years convincing me that my anger was hysteria, my fear was overreaction, my desire to leave was betrayal. And here's this man, this admitted killer, giving me permission to feel what I've been taught to suppress. If you do this, I say slowly, and I let you, who do I become? Someone who chose survival over submission. That's all. But it's not all. It's never that simple. If Jiho eliminates Marcus on my behalf, I cross a line I can never uncross. I become someone whose freedom was purchased with blood. Someone who looked at murder and said, yes. I need you to understand something. I continue. I'm not asking this because I'm a victim too broken to make hard choices. I'm asking because I've spent 4 years having every decision stripped from me. If I say yes to this, it needs to be my decision, not you deciding for me, not circumstances forcing my hand. Mine. Understood. And I need to know. If I say no, will you do it anyway? His eyes don't waver. No, even if it means I'm in danger, I'll keep you safe through other means. But I won't take someone's life without your consent. Not in your name. The sincerity in his voice cracks something open in my chest. Here is a man shaped into a weapon, bound by codes I don't understand, capable of horrors I've only glimpsed, and he's giving me veto power over violence done in my defense. It should feel like a gift. Instead, it feels like a test. How long before he makes another move? I ask. Days. Maybe hours. That photo was a warning shot. Next time, it won't be paper under the door. I close my eyes. See my future splinter into two paths. One, where I remain the person I was, clinging to morality while Marcus closes in. Another where I become someone harder, someone who makes impossible choices and lives with their weight. The past is knocking on the door. Soon, it'll break it down. Okay, I hear myself say. Do it. Jiho doesn't react with satisfaction or relief, just nods. Once, accepting the burden I've just handed him, like it's a contract we're both signing. I'll need 72 hours, he says. Will I know? When it's done, you'll know when he stops looking for you. He stands. Until then, we double security. No windows, no balcony, no patterns he can track. He starts making calls, issuing instructions in Korean, transforming the apartment into a fortress. And I sit on the couch holding a photograph of myself, taken by a man who promised to love me until I believed. Love meant ownership. Soon, that man will disappear, and I'll have to live with the fact that I'm the reason why the door I just opened won't close again. I've chosen. 72 hours feels like 72 years. Time moves strangely when you're waiting for someone to die. On your behalf, minutes stretch into hours, into days, and I can't stop thinking about what Marcus is doing right now, this exact second. Is he planning his approach? Buying flowers as a prop for when he rescues me? Loading a gun? Does he know his clock just started counting down? Jiho maintains his routine with mechanical precision. Morning meditation. Calls conducted in rooms I'm not allowed to enter. Meals prepared with the same careful attention, but there's a tension humming beneath his control now, like a wire pulled too tight, vibrating with potential energy. We don't talk about what's coming. There's nothing left to say. Instead, I'm trapped alone with my thoughts, and they're eating me alive. I think about karma, about whether the universe keeps score. If I'm trading Marcus's evil for my own, just dressed in self-defense, whether God, if one exists, distinguishes between killing out of rage and killing for survival. If my grandmother could see me now, what would she think? The girl she raised to turn the other cheek, to forgive, to be better than those who hurt you, that girl is gone. In her place, someone cold enough to sign a death warrant. I think about therapy sessions I'll never have, about sitting across from some well-meaning counselor who'd tell me I have options, resources, legal remedies, who'd talk about restraining orders and shelters and rebuilding. Who wouldn't understand that Marcus doesn't recognize legal capitate, boundaries, that shelters have addresses that can be found, that rebuilding means nothing when someone's determined to demolish you again. Easy to have principles when you've never been hunted. I think about Marcus's mother. Will she mourn him? Probably. Will she ever know her son was a monster? Probably not. To her, he'll just be missing another mystery, another grief, and some part of me that hasn't fully calcified yet feels guilty about that, about causing a mother pain, even if her son caused mine. But then I remember, that mother raised him, saw the signs, maybe, and ignored them, heard my nervous laughter at family dinners, and chose to believe his version. She had chances to intervene, and didn't. Guilt recedes. Slightly. Mostly, I think about the person I'm becoming. Because you don't order someone's death and remain unchanged. You don't choose survival at any cost and wake up the same. I catch my reflection in the bathroom mirror on day 2 of waiting. Same face, same features. But something behind the eyes has shifted. Hardened. I look older, not in years in weight. Like I've aged a decade in 10 days. Who are you now? I whisper to the stranger. Looking back, she doesn't answer. But I know. I'm becoming someone, Marcus. Created not the broken victim he intended, but something he didn't anticipate. Someone willing to fight back with the only weapons available, even if those weapons are morally complicated. I'm becoming dangerous. On day 3, I find Jiho on the balcony again. No cigarette, this time. Just standing in the cold, watching the city lights blur into constellations of human chaos. Do you ever regret it, I ask? The things you've done? Every single one, he says without hesitation. But regret doesn't undo action. It just teaches you what you can live with. Can you live with it? Obviously. I'm still here. He turns to face me. The real question is, can you? I don't know yet. That's honest. We stand in silence for a moment. 2 people, waiting for violence to erase a problem neither of us created. What if it doesn't work? I ask quietly. What if he survives? Disappears? Comes back worse? Then we adapt. We always adapt. He catches the emphasis. You think once this is over, I'll just send you on your way? New identity? Fresh start? Good luck? Won't you? No. His expression is unreadable. You know, too much now. About me. About my world. And more than that. He stops. Recalibrates. You're not a job anymore. Then what am I? He doesn't answer. Maybe can't. Or maybe the answer is too complicated for this moment. This strange liminal space between my old life, dying, and whatever comes next, being born. My phone, the burner Jiho gave me for emergencies, buzzes. A message from a number I don't recognize. It's done. 2 words. That's all it takes to confirm that Marcus no longer exists in this world. That somewhere, a man who spent 4 years making me wish I was dead has finally paid the price for his cruelty, and I'm the one who greenlit his execution. I should feel relief, vindication, safety. Instead, I feel hollow, like someone scooped out my insides and replaced them with static. Are you okay? Jiho asks. Am I supposed to be? You're supposed to be whatever you are. No rules for this. I thought I'd feel different. Free. Maybe. Lighter. I stare at the message, but I just feel empty. Like I traded one kind of cage for another, and this one's built from guilt instead of fear. Guilt means you're still human, Jiho says. Quietly. Means you haven't lost the part of yourself that knows actions have weight. Hold on to that. The day you stop feeling it is the day you should worry. Do you still feel it? Every time. We stand there in the cold. 2 people who've just crossed a line that can't be uncrossed, carrying the weight of a choice that will define everything that follows. And I realize I am no longer powerless. But power, it turns out, is its own kind of prison. You just get to choose what you lock inside. The confirmation comes through official channels 48 hours later. Marcus, officially listed as a missing person, remains missing. Police investigation stalls. Family is devastated. Friends post tearful tributes online. His mother holds a candlelight vigil that makes local news. I watch it all from Jiho's laptop, anonymous and invisible, and feel nothing but a distant, clinical observation of grief I can't access. He's gone. Really? Truly gone. And I'm still here, still breathing, still whole, in ways I wasn't 10 days ago. What happens now, I ask? We're sitting across from each other at the dining table, the same configuration as that first night, but everything between us has shifted. I'm no longer a victim he's sheltering. He's no longer just my protector. We're co-conspirators now, bound by a secret that will either anchor or drown us. That depends, Jiho says carefully, on what you want. I want to not be afraid anymore. That's a good start, but it's not a plan. Then what's the plan? My voice comes out sharper than intended, edged with exhaustion and the emotional debris of trauma. Confronted. You give me a new identity? Set me up in some other city? Pretend the last 4 years didn't happen? I could do that, he says. Or you stay. The word hangs in the air between us, heavy with implications I'm not sure I'm ready to unpack. Stay. In this apartment, in this life adjacent to violence. With him, why would I do that? Because you don't want to be afraid anymore. And being alone means being vulnerable. Because you've already crossed the line most people never approach. And pretending you didn't won't erase it. Because he starts again. Because you understand now what it costs to survive. And that knowledge makes you valuable. To me. To this world you've stumbled into. Valuable how? People like us. People who've been shaped by necessity. Into something harder, we recognize each other. We trust each other in ways we can't trust civilians who've never had to make impossible choices. You could disappear, yes, start over. But you'd always be looking over your shoulder, always wondering if you're truly safe or just temporarily hidden. Or he leans forward slightly. You could stay here with me. Learn how to protect yourself so you never need protection again. Become someone who isn't afraid because she's become dangerous enough that fear is obsolete. You're offering to teach me. I'm offering partnership, autonomy, a different kind of freedom than the one you ran from. Freedom built on competence instead of ignorance. It's a seductive offer, terrifying, impossible, and somehow the only thing that makes sense. I think about the woman I was 12 days ago. Broken, terrified, defined entirely by what had been done to her. Then the woman I am. Now, still scared, but no longer powerless. Still damaged, but no longer passive. Changed by choices I made instead of choices made to me. If I leave, I become someone running from her own shadow. If I stay, I become something else entirely. Someone who stands in the darkness instead of fleeing from it. What would that look like, I ask. Practically, you'd train. Learn self-defense, weapons handling, situational awareness. I'd teach you how to move through the world without leaving traces. How to identify threats before they materialize. How to be invisible when necessary and lethal when required. He watches my reaction carefully. It wouldn't be easy. You'd have to rebuild yourself from the grain, foundation up. Unlearn helplessness, embrace capability. And us? What would we be? Whatever we decide, partners, colleagues, maybe more, eventually, if that's something we both want. But first, you need to become someone who chooses relationships instead of ending up in them. There's a wisdom in that I wasn't expecting. An understanding that I can't just trade one dependency for another, even if this one feels safer. I need to become whole on my own terms before I can be part of anything healthy. I'd need time, I say slowly, to process everything, to mourn the person I was, to figure out who I'm becoming. Take as long as you need, but I'd be staying, learning, not just hiding. Yes. I look around the apartment that's been my sanctuary and my prison. This space where I've transformed from victim to something else, where I've made choices that horrify and empower me in equal measure. And I realize the past isn't chasing me anymore. I ended that pursuit. Now the only question is what future I build from the ruins. Okay, I hear myself say, I'll stay, but on one condition, which is you keep teaching me until I don't need you anymore. Until I'm strong enough that staying is a choice, not a necessity. until I could walk out this door tomorrow and survive on my own. But I choose to stay because I want to, not because I'm afraid to leave. Something shifts in his expression. Respect, maybe, or recognition that I'm not the same woman he found 12 days ago at a gas station, bleeding and desperate. Deal, he says. And just like that, the door closes on who I was and opens on who I'm becoming. Not a victim, not a refugee, not a woman defined by the man who hurt her or the man who saved her. Just someone learning to be dangerous enough that fear becomes irrelevant. I don't know yet if I chose safety or just a different kind of danger. If this partnership with Jiho will heal me or warp me into something unrecognizable. If becoming hard means becoming whole or just becoming broken in new ways. But I know this, I'm no longer running, and that, for now, is enough. Was Jiho her savior or just a different kind of danger?